everyone. I'm Hannibal. I am a member of the AmCon Kentucky medical team, and I'm making this video today to introduce you to our individual first aid kit. Forgive me, I'm going to go by some notes because I have been accused of being long-winded, and I'm going to try to not do that today. Our plan is to develop an IFAK and distribute it to every member of the AmCon Kentucky team that needs one. We strongly recommend that you have an IFAK or an individual first aid kit. We recommended a video. The team got together and we saw a video made by a YouTuber called The Skinny Medic, where he addresses how to assess a patient and how to use some of the most common commercial items found in most IFAKs. And we all agreed he did a good job with that video. It was concise and it got to the point. We didn't see any benefit in filming our own video giving the same information. So we've asked all members to watch that. And if you have a commercial IFAK kit, that's wonderful. But I know times are tough and some of that commercial stuff can be pretty expensive. So we wanted every member to have some sort of an IFAK. And so we put together some that we're going to be distributing for free, and I'm just going to introduce you to that today. We're going to be making videos, and our videos are going to focus on how to use the components in our kit, as well as how to improvise components to deal with issues such as the chest seal, tourniquets, packing wounds. We feel this is good in addition to knowing how to use the commercial products in case you don't have a commercial product available, or if you have multiple injuries and you use up all your commercial products and you have to improvise. I'm going to show you the kits, go over what they contain, show you what the components in them are actually used for, and then in the individual videos that we make, we're going to go more in depth and show you how to deal with each one of these injuries, such as a gunshot, stabbing, amputation, etc. I don't want to spend somebody else's money. So I don't like coming at you and telling you, you have to go buy this. But one thing I am going to tell you that I strongly suggest you have is a pair of trauma shears. I would have loved to be able to source these and distribute them in the kits, but we really don't have the resources and a good source to get these at a reliable price. They're not much. I was just at Tractor Supply this morning. They had some. It's like $7. So that is something I'm going to require you to get. The other thing was a suggestion of taking a piece of dowel rod and putting in the kit, and for making improvised tourniquets. I think that's a great idea. I bought this morning at Walmart and it was less than $1. I thought about just buying a bunch of them, cutting them up and putting them in the kits. The problem is I don't have a power saw like a bandsaw to cut these, and I would have to cut them all by hand. And I thought, I'm going to leave that to you as well. I suggest you get a little piece of dowel rod. You don't have to. When we do the tourniquet video, we're going to show you how to make some improvised tourniquets, good, effective improvised tourniquets. And it would be nice if you had this. If you don't worry about it. Maybe somebody else in the group that's got some woodwork equipment might want to volunteer to buy a few of these and cut them up and distribute them to put in your IFAK. That would be wonderful. So we're going to try to keep these videos short, 10 to 20 minutes, rather than make one long hour-and-a-half video showing everything that we want to show. It'll be myself and then some of the other members of the team making the videos. We're going to split the tasks up. But I strongly recommend you go back and watch that Skinny Medic video. There's some really good information in there about using commercial products. So our kits are going to be packed in plastic bags. They're not flashy. You're not going to be strapping these to your molly and going to the range and everybody's going to be impressed with how cool it is. But they're effective. And that's what we were going for, is something that's going to work. And the methods and stuff that we're going to teach you, we on the medical team have either used or seen used. We know that they're effective. We're not going to teach you something that's not going to work. Okay? So the kits, let's get right into this. These are a couple of the kits. You can see we're just packing them in heavy duty freezer bags. They're pretty much all the same. There's a few little differences. For example, gloves. I put a pair of gloves in every kit. Some of them I had some pre-packaged gloves that come in a little plastic wrap. They look like this. When I had those, I put them in the kit. When I didn't, I just put a pair of loose gloves in the kit. So every kit will have a pair of gloves. They might look a little different. Every kit is also going to have an ABD pad. ABD pad, these are very common in hospitals, nursing homes, home health nurses use them. It's a large absorbent pad. These particular ones are 5 inches by 9 inches. They're large absorbent pads. They're folded, they unfold out. They're made for, the ABD part stands for abdominal pad. They're made to be very absorbent and to cover a large, let's say, abdominal wound and absorb a lot. They're very effective for pressure dressings and the like. You're going to have a roll of Coban. I put 2-inch rolls in the kits. I had some 2-inch rolls. I also had some 4-inch rolls that I cut. This happens to be one I cut. So it looks a little rough around the edges, but it works just fine. This stuff is fantastic. It's used for compression, for dressings and things. They sell this at like dollar stores and stuff. It's about $3 a roll. If you need to buy some to restock your kit, or if you want to make your own kit. Also ABD pads, you can get those. Most of the Dollar Generals have a little medical section. They have those. They also sell it, they call it sports wrap. A lot of people use it like to wrap around their wrists to support it. And like I said, these rolls are about $3 a roll. Now, this morning, I went to Tractor Supply and I bought this. These are 4 rolls, and they're neat camouflage pattern. This is $4.99, so these are $1.25 a roll. The difference is just the packaging. These are in the equine section at Tractor Supply. They're made for horses. They wrap these around horses' legs to give them compression. It's the exact same stuff. You can look at the inside of the roll, and it's made by the same people. It's the exact same stuff. It's just marketed differently, but it's a lot cheaper. So if you were going to buy some of this to make your own kit or restock your kit, go to Tractor Supply and get some, and you can get neat camouflage color. Coban, the way you properly use Coban is it has a stretch. So these rolls, there's 2.5 yards, and this one looks pretty rough because I had unrolled it yesterday and rolled it back up for a different video. There's 2.5 yards on these rolls unstretched, and it's 5 yards when it's stretched. So they have a lot of stretch to them. Well, the ideal way to use this, well, there we go, lost my trauma shears. When you're applying this, you want to have about a 50% stretch to it. So as you work your loop around and you're looping this around your wrist, the way to do it is to pull out some, stretch it all the way out, and then come back in a bit and then wrap it. And that kind of gives you a feeling for doing like a 50% wrap. And what that gives you is a very effective compression. Now this sticks to itself. You probably had this on you before if you've gone to the doctor's office when they draw blood. A lot of times they'll wrap this around. It's a lot more effective than tape in my view. As you can see, when you wrap it properly, you get a nice stretchy compression to it, but it's not too tight. And the reason, if you're wrapping a wound and you're putting tape, and we thought about putting a roll of tape in there, but if you wrap tape all the way around the limb tight, then whenever you have any kind of trauma, you're going to have swelling associated with that. So you put the bandage on, you wrap it, and you walk away to treat somebody else. That limb swells, and now you've got a tourniquet, and you don't want that. So the nice thing about the Coban is it's stretchy. It will hold the bandage in place, and it will give you compression, but it also gives you that flexibility, that stretch to handle any swelling that comes up. And it seals very tightly. Now, as an experiment this morning before I made this video, about 30 minutes ago. I took a pear and wrapped some Coban around it and dropped this in a bowl of water. And it's been soaking in a bowl of water for about 30 minutes. Now, I know you're asking, why did I put Coban around a pear? Well, that's simple, because I didn't have any apples. But I want to demonstrate, this is soaking wet. As I said, it's been literally soaking in a pan of water for 30 minutes. As you can see, that Coban is still firmly attached and it still has its stretch. So this is why I really like this stuff for wound dressings. Even if it gets completely saturated with blood, it's not going to loosen up and come off like tape will. So you got Coban. This is called Curlix. It's a different brands call it different things. This is called bulky dressing, but it's Curlix is what it is. This is a loose gauze that's rolled. I've got one here that I used on a video, so it's kind of pulled apart, but it'll give you the idea. I don't want to open any more because I'm trying to make as many first aid kits as I can. I don't want to waste any. You unroll this, and this is the consistency of it. It's got a little bit of stretch to it. It's very strong, and it's very, very absorbent. So this is actually very versatile. You can use this for a lot of stuff. You can pull this off and wrap a wound with it. It's not my favorite because of the whole stretchy thing. It's got a little bit of give, but not much. So if you wrap a wound with this, you want to not get it too tight, and you basically have to tape it down. You can wrap a wound with this and then put Coban over top of it, and that can be very effective. This is very absorbent. It's also very good for packing wounds. Now, the primo top of the line stuff to pack wounds with is hemostatic gauze, but you may not have hemostatic gauze. This was used for years before they came out with hemostatic gauze, and it's still used. I've packed a lot of wounds with this in the hospital and in different environments, and it's still very, very common. A method you can use if you are packing a wound, which is what I was showing with this, so I'm going to cut this edge off to kind of make this a clean roll. Instead of pulling it like this to try to pack a wound, a nice way to do it is just to hold the gauze in your hand and you pull it from the center, and then you still have the roll intact, and you can use this into pack a wound, which we'll show you more in the wound packing video. This can also be used to make a sling to keep someone's arm supported. If they have a fractured wrist or something, you can use it to bind it to their body so they're not moving it. A link to this pulled out. It's very stout. Makes a very effective tourniquet. I've seen this used multiple times for tourniquets, and it works very well. We'll show you that in the tourniquet video. So, the last thing in the kit is a chest seal. Now, I'm pretty proud of this. I designed these chest seals, and this material is called wound vac drape. And in the medical field, they use wound vacs for healing wounds such as bed sores, long-term wounds when you're trying to heal them up, and there's not much blood flow to the area. So what they do is they take the wound and they pack it with a sterile foam, and then they put this material over top of it to seal it, and then they attach a vacuum to it, and they pull a vacuum, they leave that for days, and it pulls blood to the area and speeds up healing. That's what this is used for. Long time ago, I said, man, this would make a great chest seal. So I have carried this in my first aid kit for years. And I'm going to go in depth in this in the chest seal video, but this makes a good chest seal, but it's a non-venting chest seal if you put it on. The commercial ones are venting seals, and I'll go into the difference in that. But, excuse me, I have made this into a venting chest seal. I had the idea to do that, and I'm going to, in the video, I'll go into detail how. I would put this chest seal up against any of the commercial seals as far as being effectiveness. And really for ease of application. I'm very proud of this. And I've made 30 of these. I had some components on hand to make 30. That's enough that I can distribute it to all the existing vetted AmCon members. I'm working on getting more. I've got a source for some more of this material that I'm supposed to get later this week. I'm not sure how much more, maybe enough to make another 20 chest seals. And I'm trying to source some more, so I'm hoping to make some more. I want everybody to have a chest seal. The commercial ones are great. If you want to buy a commercial one, they're wonderful. This is just a cost-saving thing. This is something I can offer you for free that is just as effective as a $20 commercial chest seal. So even if you have a commercial chest seal, if you get one of these, throw it in your extra bag or throw it in there. It's always nice to have an extra one. And so that's the contents of the kit. And as I said, in other videos, we're going to go in depth, show you how to use all this stuff very effectively to treat trauma wounds. Last thing I want to say is, and this is one thing that all the medical team members agreed on and that we want to stress, is if you use our kit or you just make your own kit up or whatever, if you don't have anything else, you should have a commercial tourniquet. We're going to show you how to make effective tourniquet using other products and other things. Little ingenuity there. But you really need a good tourniquet, a commercial tourniquet. I'm not sold on any particular brand. Now, the North American Rescue Cat 7 tourniquet, I've heard nothing but good things about that. They're the ones that Mike sells on the Fieldcraft site, and I think they're great tourniquets. If you can get one of those, get one. I think they're around 30 bucks is probably what you're going to spend for one. There's a couple other types out there. There's a rat tourniquet. There's a SWAT tourniquet. I'm not as familiar with them, but I'm sure they're very good. This is a tourniquet that, at first glance, said that's a Cat 7 tourniquet or a Cat 5 tourniquet. It's not. This is a tourniquet that I got off of Amazon, and it costs $6, I think. Fairly inexpensive, a lot less expensive than the North American Rescue Tournament. It's not the quality of a North American Rescue tourniquet. The windlass is plastic instead of metal, and I'm sure that a lot of the professional paramedics or whatever would really down these. They work. I've used this one multiple times on myself, just trying it out to make sure it works, and it works really well. If it certainly works better than improvising a tourniquet, let me put it that way. The nice thing about this, it's hard to improvise a tourniquet on yourself. You can put this one on yourself. One thing about this style of tourniquet, I know this is not a tourniquet video, but I'm going to stress the tourniquet in every one of my videos. When you use them, the tip that you pull, whether it's some of them have red tips, some of them have different color. This is the part that you're pulling when it's loose. This should point towards the center of the body. Whether you're putting it on leg, arm, doesn't matter. If you're putting it on the left side, flip it over. You can put it on the other way, especially if you're putting it on somebody else. But putting it on yourself, it's critical. You always point this towards the center of the body. So you might as well get in the habit of doing that all the time. And there's a reason for that. And this is not a tourniquet video. I'm just going to show you real briefly. But when you're putting it on yourself, if you grab this, cinch it down, you can reach the windlass. If you put it on backwards, or put this on facing away from the body, and you cinch it down, it's hard to get it without pulling that windlass back behind you. And then it's very difficult to manipulate. So if you do get this type of a tourniquet, whether it be a North American or be a different brand that's a similar design, keep that in mind when you're using them. But of course, we'll cover that much more in the tourniquet video. So that's about it. That's all I got for this video. Thank you very much. Watch the Skinny Medic video. If you need the link, feel free to contact me. I'm Hannibal on AmCon Kentucky, as well as the main AmCon page, or any of the other medical team. We'll be happy to help you with that, or any other questions. I just saw something I had on the table. I'm going to talk one more thing. If you're buying a commercial tourniquet, there's a design of tourniquet. If you go online and you look for them, you're going to find these. And this is one that came out of my first aid kit. This is a commercial tourniquet. The way this is made, it snaps on like this. You put it around your arm, and this is elastic, and you pull it tight. And then you push the button to release it. This is a tourniquet, but it's not the kind of tourniquet we're talking about. This tourniquet is part of my IV start kit. And this is a tourniquet designed for starting IVs. It doesn't stop arterial flow, it stops venous flow. So we'll put this on to fill up the blood vessels in an arm to make it easier to start the IV. Don't buy this thinking you have a tourniquet, because this will not stop blood flow, arterial blood. It just doesn't get tight enough. It could possibly work on a very small child. If I had a 2-year-old or somebody I was working on, I might try this as a tourniquet. I've never actually done that, so I can't swear that it would stop arterial flow. It might on a very small child, but certainly not on a larger child or an adult. You definitely need a tourniquet similar to this in order to do that. So don't buy one of these and think you have a tourniquet, because you don't. That's it. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure. I look forward to making more of these videos, and God bless you.